Empower 11, the best of its kind in a highly transformative time. Are you empowered? Ready to turn your life up to 11? Awaken the life of who you are on the inside to match the life you were meant to live on the outside. Empower 11. Now is your time.
Empower 11 Radio. Greetings and welcome to Empower 11 Radio. This is a live 1-hour show that we do every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time. And we are coming to you from beautiful Santa Barbara County, where it is a gorgeous, hot, beautiful, sunny day. And speaking of beautiful, sitting next to me is the beautiful and talented and yummified Ann Ribley.
Welcome. Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you. Jack Voorhees, my great, awesome creative partner and my genius and warm, compassionate.
Keep it coming. Keep it coming.
I love doing the show with you, Jack.
So today is August 29th, 2012, and this is just it's a great day. I mean, today is our 21st show. Can you believe 22 shows already, Ann?
22 or 21?
21. This is
okay.
the 21st.
Okay, yeah.
I believe, if my math is correct. So if you want to know more information about Empower 11, all our programs and everything we got going on, you can check us out at empower11.com. That's empower11.com. And make sure you send us some feedback, say, what you're digging, what's working for you, what maybe your challenges are, or what you're working on, to info at empower11.com. Be sure and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/empower11. And catch us on Spreaker. Spreaker is our platform that you can listen to us on on your computer. You can listen to us on your smartphone just by downloading the app to your Android or iPhone. And speaking of iTunes, our Empower 11 Wealth album our Empower Wealth album is now available on iTunes and also Amazon. You can download it or get it physically on Amazon. Make sure you go out and get it, because the results that we are hearing from people are quite impressive.
Yeah, and I want to say, too, make sure you like us on Facebook if you want to stay in the loop as we have more stuff coming out and as just stay in the news of what's going on with Empower 11.
Yeah, and we do have some cool stuff coming out. We have the EmpowerFlex program that's coming out, and that's pretty, that's pretty exciting for us. We've been really developing that for a long time. And can you tell us a little bit about that, Ann?
Yeah, well, it's about I really believe that anything we want to achieve, we have to know how to receive. So if any vision, any dream that you want to go out and achieve in your life, even love, family, health, we have to be able to receive that. And then what is that key for what we want to achieve and how we want to be able to receive it? It's openness. I believe that achievable equals receivable. They are in direct proportion to each other. We can only achieve our ability to receive. And what creates that achievable equals receivable? It is our ability to be open. How do we create openness? It's removing the resistance. And it's really getting into this flexible, empowering state in our lives.
Yeah, all the athletes know that, in order to keep from getting injured and keep growing and progressing in their field and become better and better, that they have to maintain flexibility. And, flexibility is a very powerful thing. I mean, if you think about the trees, the ones that survive are the ones that can bend in the wind and without breaking. The ones that are rigid break. So I think that as we get older, we can tend to get more rigid.
In our minds,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a big key is our minds, and then our bodies take on that persona, or it just influences each other. And I'm in this state right now where I'm really committed to creating the physical, the mental, and the spiritual atonement to empower Flex into all that I'm looking to desire to interact with my world with.
And you're working on this physical therapy stuff. You want tell us about that, because your body is changing, and you're like getting in the driver's seat of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some real reshaping that's happening, and it's I've went through stretches of transition where it's been uncomfortable, but then it's like I'm starting to see the results.
For those of you who don't know, Anne was run over by a lawnmower when she was 2 years old, and she ended up having a partial amputation of her foot, and she had a lot of damage done to her knee, and so she has this new bionic leg, and in order to use that bionic leg to the best of her ability, she's going through a lot of physical therapy to restructure how the muscles are working and stuff.
Yeah, and it's such a symbol to life. Okay, so what happened is with my old limb that did not have the same bionic components to it, there was so much my body had to do in order to allow this functionality. Well, now I got something that's giving back that functionality, and so my muscles have to be retrained, and certain ones that were not used need to be used more, and really balancing out what I'm doing. And I find it's like when we become committed to reshaping our physicality, and become committed to reshaping our mental domain that we live in, with empowering and inspiring thoughts. And I mean, I know we can sit here and say this as if it's like a snap of the fingers, just get into these empowering, inspiring thoughts. But the truth is, as life is happening, there is this negotiation that we can have with our lives. And a lot of times people think that it's their boss, it's their job, it's their relative, it's their spouse that they have to renegotiate their world with. And yes, sometimes it does require that sort of communication. But the first place, that's the most empowering place, is to decide that your relationship, my relationship, all of our relationships begin with ourselves, and we can change anything by renegotiating our rapport with the universe. And when we understand that, hey, this conversation isn't with my boss or my coworker, I'm negotiating with the universe, with God, with the divine, then we free ourselves up to begin living the empowered state that we're meant to live for ourselves.
Well, I'm really proud of you and the progress that you've made and you've committed to, and you have not missed a session, and you are just making it happen.
It's so funny because when I show up there, that's one of the things they say is they're like, oh, well, she never misses, and I'm thinking, who misses? Why would you sign up to make your life better and then not show up for your life to make it better?
Right. It's like
it's not even a thought in my mind. It's not even that's non-negotiable.
Sure. Showing up late for a massage or missing your massage appointment. Like, whoa, why would you do that? Makes no sense to me. So today's program, the title of today's program is called Empower the Power of You. And that's what we're going to have our discussion on today. But the whole thing, all of Empower 11, all the tools, everything that we have is all about empowering the power of you. So today is just a kind of an informal discussion about empowering, this power that you have in you, unleashing, unveiling, or getting into this place. We could go on for hours and hours and hours about it, but we are committed to giving you some real practical tools in order to get yourself into a place where you want to be, manifest things at a faster rate, and basically do some things to get in the driver's seat of your life. This program that we've put together, this EmpowerFlex that is coming out, is really beginning to this whole thing. It's getting into like a recalibration so that you're able to just become this sponge, that you're open and you're able to just absorb everything else that you want to feed yourself in this spiritual kind of way in order to really empower yourself. So, Anne, what is this? I mean, what is it? What is it to, empower the power of you?
Well, I think it's the state where you become the master. You start taking dominion over this body that you have, over this mind that you have, and this life that you're meant to live. And what does that mean? That means that you become aligned with this life force, this spark, this divine essence, the original knowing, that very exact purpose of who you're meant to be, the truest part of you. And you begin taking dominion, coming home to yourself.
Now, Anne, you've really gotten in a good place where you're really able to articulate this original knowing, and I see this original knowing as when we watch our kids come into this world, and they come in with their own kind of agenda. You can have a bunch of kids and they all come out different. Raise them the same way, but they all end up different. And they it's like they come in with these unique gifts, this unique DNA, this unique power that they have within themselves, and it's tapping into that original knowing, that uniqueness is. It's a true place to be, and when you're in this true place, then you can really get lined up with your purpose.
I mean, that the original knowing, that is God at work. That is the Creator in the unique creativity of how we as human beings were designed and meant to be. Could you imagine a world where every single baby that was born looked exactly the same as the other baby? Every single baby that was born talked just like all the, evolved into this human being and had the same tone, had the same conversation, looked exactly the same way. We would live in such a boring world if it was like that. I mean, we weren't. The highest level, to be the closest to our Creator, is to understand that we were created in our own original divine source of this originality of who we're meant to be, and it's unique. That's the fine blueprint of life.
And then that's the beautiful part. People are beautiful in their uniqueness. We were watching this thing yesterday. Yesterday, and it was about. Am I pronouncing his name right? Rosie Greer, the football player, who is huge football guy, man.
Was he from the 70s? Did they say?
Yeah, he was just. The guy was enormous, and he was
6'5".
Yeah, head crusher. This guy was.
In his time, he was one of the toughest football players in the 70s, I believe.
Right, but what he loved to do, and what really got him into this really good place within himself, is needlepoint. And and that uniqueness. That makes him memorable. That makes him that he was okay with it. He had no problem being in after practice and everything, and while everybody's in the showers and all this stuff, and he's there needle pointing. He had no problem with it. He owned himself and where he's at, and he even put out a book about it. There's this book, there's this big, huge guy on
Football
there,
player.
and he's needle pointing, and that's just like, it's so cool. Uniqueness gets honored, and yet, like so many people try to emulate somebody else when they really need to just go deeper inside them and just be all who they are.
Yeah, it's interesting when my youngest, he's 9 now, he has always kind of had an artistic sense to him. And what was part of his artistic sense that just would show up in whether it was with crayons, it was with painting, with anything, is he always did things with bold, vibrant colors. I mean, he was not a kid that would ever lightly crayon his pictures. He would just color it in so that the colors were rich and bold. And it's almost like if you're going to paint a wall a certain color, you put on 5 coats so it's really vibrant. That was how he did art from the very time he was little. And so I believe that empowering the power of you is this place of really starting to get bold with who we are, bold in that authenticity of who we are, and not being afraid to become more of ourselves.
Yeah, and that gets us into tapping into our purpose. And what can be more powerful than knowing what your purpose is? When you're kind of drifting, trying to figure things out, that's you're not accomplishing a lot. But when you have a purpose and a drive and you've tapped into this original knowing, then you can. I mean, you are on the fast track because you see it, you own it, and that's who you are, and then you can move forward.
You know what, though? I think, Jack, a lot of people sometimes get confused because they don't know what their purpose is. And a lot of times people think purpose is about career. Mm-hmm. And I truly believe that purpose is that good stuff, that original knowing, that place of what's truly us and comes natural to us. And I believe that's the stuff that's been following us our whole life. So if we are naturally a good teacher and a good helper in that way with passing on new information and in teaching other people, it doesn't mean that your purpose has to be only a teacher in the traditional sense. It means that in any areas of our lives, it means that those areas of us, and we all have them, those things that we're naturally good at, we just begin, that's the fast track. We begin plugging it into our life and allowing ourselves to get clearer in the directions that we get the most natural feedback, that most natural enthusiasm that fuels us with that energy that truly empowers us with an E, empower.
Mm. So just because we might be talented in an area doesn't mean that necessarily is our life purpose.
Right. Like the needlepoint and the football player. He was talented with needlepoint.
Yeah, well, he's also talented with football, but I mean, there's more to living a purposeful life, living a life of purpose, besides just lining up and doing something. It's more than what we're doing. Sometimes it's what we're teaching, what we're leaving behind,
or we're being called to do.
Yeah, and life is short. I mean, life is short, so short. We're, in 100 years, just about everybody we know is gone. I mean, the whole world will have totally changed, and you won't be a part of it.
Well, look at how much the world's changed in these last 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that is normal to us today didn't even exist 100 years ago.
Yeah, my grandfather used to tell the stories of the Iceman coming to, and how cool that was, that, you could chip off some ice and have some ice. They didn't have like a standard refrigerator and things like that, so.
I want to say one thing real quick about talent again. I want to go back to that, is that a lot of times some of our talents are great aspects of us that allow us to get more in this meditative, congruent state, and that are supportive to our purpose. Like it could be gardening. I mean, some people, their purpose is in alignment with that, but other people, it could be just part of something that they're good at, they're talented in so many different ranges. We could be talented in lots of different ways. And that supports us to get into this good place within ourselves, this good meditative state within ourselves, and that can help drive our purpose. I wrote today in my journal that I am pristine in my purpose, which I want to just be pristine, clear, and knowing and moving in that, and not allowing the waters of my passion and purpose in life to get muddied up with things that are not a part of that I know for myself.
Like what?
Well, you call it outside noise. La 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 la, I can't hear the outside noise, but it's like, for example, I would say when life has situations, I mean, it can be specifically, I mean, I just had something recently that came up that I had something really good and significant and it was, it was a considerable amount of money that was coming to me, and it got intercepted through the past that went to my husband's my former husband's debt and stuff. And it's like getting to this place that not allowing that to muddy up the clearness of what my life is today, and just allowing that to keep continuously be healed, be untangled from my life. I mean, I do believe that all of us have, like, people feel like, well, yeah, I would be empowering myself if I didn't have all this other crap I had to deal with. But it's like, or if I didn't have to deal with this person that I work with, or if it wasn't this way, or if I had all this money. I mean, we can give ourselves all these excuses and reasons why it's not the ideal time, or just this ideal situation, or this situation happened that, well, now, I mean, I was good if that would have happened, but this didn't happen. And it's like, I'm working with the accountant now, and we're getting things re-straightened away. And I just look at this as instead of giving it the power to muddy up the waters of being on purpose with my life and my passions, as I just look at it, it's part of bringing more pristine purpose into my life. And so it's taking any situation that is and say, okay, what are you here for, that I can allow this to just bring more clarity into my life instead of giving them the power to muddy up the waters.
You know, talking about muddying up the waters, it reminds me of when we were in the Dominican Republic, and I was speaking to a group of young to-be chiropractors. And, I was talking to them a bit about life purpose and making sure that you stay true to what you're here for and what you're here to do and what inspires you, because if you don't, then there's going to be always this something missing, this maybe it's like a spiritual hole that you have, or some kind of void. And what often happens if we get into this place of autopilot where we're just running through this scripted kind of life where it's like, yeah, we're supposed to do X, then Y, then Z, then we're supposed to have the 2.3 kids, and we're supposed to have the house and the mortgage, and all this stuff that society tells us that we're supposed to have. And then once we get into this and we're trying to always like pay our debt, and we get off track, and then next thing you know, you're looking for things to fill it, whether it's like whether it's antidepressants or some form of other drugs, or it's consuming or gambling or whatever. It's like, yeah, I know what I'll do. I'll buy myself a boat because that'll make me feel better, because at least I'll look forward to, when I'm going through this hell of my day, that I look forward to on the weekend in the summertime, I can go out on my boat and then the boat just becomes one more thing that you have to work for, and it's a really it's a place of getting out of alignment with the truth of who you are, what you're here for, what you're here to do, how you're adding value to the world, what's turning you on, instead of just getting in line. And a lot of times that can seem like an easier way. You just get in line, do what you're told, go get a job, there's nothing wrong with having jobs as long as it's a job that inspires you or helps you to fulfill something that is inside of you that is like bursting to get out. I mean, what is going to allow you to bloom into this beautiful flower and to show the gifts that you have to the world? What's going to allow that to happen? Is it what you're doing now? Is it what you're planning on doing? Are you being purposeful in your life and living a purpose-filled life?
Ooh, I like that. Are you being purposeful? I mean, we could break that down. I mean, that becomes an easy way to look at everything that we're doing to ourselves and not so much taking the energy. Well, there's a couple things you said, Jack. One of them is about taking this, not externalizing our power and internalizing it more. I know I just recently did this. It may not be a big thing to other people, but it was actually a big thing to me. I stopped drinking coffee and having caffeine, and that was, Jack still keeps saying I'm crazy. No, but it came down to for my whole adult life, I've drank coffee. Everybody knows I don't drink it all day long, but I love my couple of cups in the morning. I mean, geez, I would post on Facebook my status, coffee, I love you. And I would get tons of people that would agree. But what happened is that, and then I did stop drinking coffee or having any caffeine when I was pregnant with my kids. But see, the thing of it is I did it because I was pregnant. I did it for my this life that was inside of me. I didn't do it for me. So I just recently decided that I wanted to internalize. This is this place where I'm reshaping my physical body, my mind, and my spiritual atonement to keep going up to this empowered 11th state. And it wasn't even like things were bad. I just wanted to keep expanding more in myself. So what I did is I took the energy that felt externalized in different situations or whatever, and I wanted to bring it in closer. I feel that's such a key to empower ourselves, is we got to bring things in closer. And how do you get this internalized energy? Is you bring it internally instead of looking to the external first.
So, I think that why people get off of their destiny or their purpose is because they kind of like see what others are doing and they start emulating that, or they do what they're told, or their parents say, you need to get a job and you need to do this and you need to do X, Y, and Z, and they kind of like go in line with that instead of following their true calling, because they have this self-doubt or this lack of worthiness that your hopes and your dreams are important and that they mean something. And so there's this fear that comes in, this lack of self-trust, and then it just becomes easier to like, okay, yeah, my father was a lawyer, my brother is a lawyer, I'll be a lawyer too, instead of maybe what you're supposed to be is you're supposed to be a musician, or you're supposed to be a great writer, or you're supposed to be an actor, or you're supposed to whatever it is that you are, that is your purpose. Then it's very easy to get off track. And I've said this before, and it just sticks with me that when I drive by a graveyard, I think like if all those people would have followed their purpose, what would the world be like? Just that little group, that little plot, that little section of a couple hundred people. What if they every single one of them, followed their purpose? Followed something that just their inspiration and their love and their passion, and they gave it their all. Would the world be a different place? And I think it would.
Well, if you look at the times that we're living in right now. I mean, it is easier today than ever for someone to follow their passions, to get in alignment with their purpose. I mean, we are living in a time right now where we don't have to just use so much energy in survival. But yet, people have configured lives that still keeps them entrenched in that primary survival with paying their bills, with just getting by. And that survival drowns out their ability to follow their purpose. So I think the key is to, in today's times, is don't follow what other people are doing. If someone else got an upgrade of a car, who cares? That's not your business. It's like simplify your life so that you are in the place that you can hear the truth of what you're meant to be doing. And then the external goodness comes as a natural result. But you've got to begin on, if you're taken from the externalizing those pieces to get the internal feeling right, it'll never line up. It'll always be out of sync with one another. But if you get that, you simplify so that you can get in tune with that internal, the external will match up.
Yeah, we were listening to a man who was talking about a discussion that he had with his wife last night, and he was, they were talking about, well, they had just had a newborn, and it kind of got the father of the newborn to, kind of stop and take a few steps back and look at his life and what they're doing and how they're going to be the best parent and stuff. And they realized that they were like collecting all these debts. They went
from student loans to car loans to
furniture loans to all these things. They had
consumer loans. Yeah,
they had all these loans and they had all this stuff. And he was talking about this consumption of stuff, and he was talking about everybody probably knows somebody who has a garage that they cannot park in because it's just piled with boxes of stuff and things. And they decided to get rid of all their stuff. They got rid of everything except for what they could fit in a couple of backpacks, and they started traveling the world. And they still didn't know exactly what they were supposed to be doing, but they knew they were not going to follow somebody else's script. And whatever came, and the hard times came and stuff, but they were doing it because they were running into those things because it was from their script, and they could modify that, and as opposed to getting in tune with getting in line and just going through the motions of living life, as opposed, as other people has set the rules in this place of society says and whatnot.
Well, I want to say that there is room in the world for your dreams to happen. It's not a question that, oh, well, that's been done, or or gosh, it's too late. There's room in the world. When I went through Warner Brothers Studios and their VIP tour, one of the most significant, impactful things that I experienced was when we went to their museum hall, where they had 2 floors, where they had all their the pieces that were left over from the movies since Warner Brothers started. And one of the most significant aspects of it was the fact that the whole entire second floor was dedicated to all the Harry Potter stuff and J.K. Rowling's. And I thought to myself, here Warner Brothers they're one of the first movie studios. They've been around all these years. They've had all these great movies that have come out, like The Matrix and The Wizard of Oz and all this stuff. And yet she had the entire second floor, and she's really new. Relatively new to the history of them.
Right.
And it's like there was still room for her in this whole industry of,
I know.
To have a whole second floor.
And so often people think it's all been done before. Every good idea somebody's already come up with, but there is so much more room. I do a lot of internet marketing and website design and stuff like that. And I am surprised at how many times I still run into really good URLs, really good
domain names.
Yeah, I mean, it's like crazy. Like,
that haven't
whoa,
been
this
used
is available, and man, I'm grabbing it, because it's still there.
So there is room.
Yes.
For you and your authentic dreams to step forward, to empower the power of you, and to be bold with it.
And it's never been easier. I mean, with today, the internet and today's day and age, you want to publish. You want to publish a book. You want to get on, post your album on iTunes. You
want to talk. You want to create a talk show. You can do it on the radio. You can do it on video.
Right. You can use Spreaker, which is a good segue into our commercial break. We're going to give some prompts to Spreaker, and we will be right back. And we're back. Welcome back to Empower 11 Radio. Hey, I just got to say again, go check out our Empower Wealth album. It's something you can get one of our tracks for as low as 99 cents, I think, something like that. But the album is $9.99. It's available on iTunes, or you can get it on Amazon, and you can actually get it shipped to you physically on a CD if that's your thing. But go grab it now. It is well worth it, and I look forward to hearing results that you have had with it. So now we're going to get into the real how-tos, the real nitty-gritty of how to empower the power of you. And there's a lot of things here. So anywhere you want to start, Ann?
Well, it's going to seem like, the first part of this we were talking about, like the power of empowering you and how inspiring it is and why you want to do it. And the how-tos, this is where it shows, this is where you have to muster it up. And I don't want to make it sound like it's hard, but this is where people get stuck. They don't implement the how-to. People may know what it means to empower yourself. They may know all the reasons why they need to do it. But the how-tos, people may know some of the things, and we're going to bullet list these things. But this is where.
Yeah, but I believe it can be hard. It can be really hard. But also it can be really hard to not live your purpose.
I agree. I think people underestimate how hard it is living in the life that they're living right now.
Yeah.
How hard it is to do that.
Right. I mean,
it's hard to live without good financial abundance. I mean,
sure.
So get in the business of becoming abundant. And how do you do that? Is you begin by getting into those good places with yourself, and you do it one step at a time.
Well, there's this awareness, I mean, it can really start with this awareness, just really taking a step back and opening be willing to, eyes wide open, take a look at what is going on. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Is this the life that I want for myself? And how can I make it better? Those tough questions, and Ann, we've talked about these tough questions that you have to be able to, be willing to ask yourself. Is this the life that I signed up for?
Bring it in closer. I really feel like that's where our power sits when we take whatever it is. I mean, I've said this before on the show, but this is what had such a profound effect on me, is when Eckhart Tolle was doing the New Earth with Oprah, and he said stress on any level means that we have not accepted something for what it is. Mm-hmm. So then if you go to your life and you look at what are the areas of stress in your life, then you can start to find out the answers and ask the questions to what is it that you're not accepting for what it is, and starting to look at how to empower you, because that is an easier place to live. It's harder living. I agree with that, Jack.
Yeah, this being willing to look at your life with crystal clear vision, like for the truth of what it is, and not just how we may perceive it and how we're going through the motions of our life. We're on this autopilot, and it can seem a lot easier, and it can seem very difficult to change. Like, I couldn't possibly, I can't even think about that. I'm doing so much now. I couldn't possibly do any more, and I can't even look at that. I just got it. But the thing is, you do. You need to do it. It's the only way through is through. There's not a sidestep. There's not a pill you can take. There's not magic lotion or potion. You got to be willing to do it.
So asking the tough questions. So you're saying that you got to be willing to do it. You got to be willing to look at the tough questions. I guess the part where I was saying it could feel hard is I do believe once you start getting the answers, there's this place where you got to be willing to get uncomfortable. And I go back to what I just did with physical therapy is I've made such tremendous progress, but at the same time I had to go through these really strong phases of being uncomfortable. And that's the same thing that's happened with different life situations. But I took comfort in knowing I was doing the right thing for me in my life. And that's the same thing even with doing this physical therapy that I've done in my life. I take comfort in, even the uncomfortable, I take comfort in knowing I'm doing the right thing. I'm empowering myself.
Yeah, there can be growing pains. And it can be uncomfortable. It can be downright painful. When I made a major life change a few years ago, it was incredibly painful, but yet so good for me. And I was willing to do that. I mean, I just became willing to say, I'm changing, and I don't care what has to happen, but I am unwilling to accept anything else. I became unwilling to compromise the truth of who I was. I became steadfast, yet open. So, like at the same time, not willing to compromise, steadfast. This is, a declaration. I will not. I'm not going to do this anymore. My life will change. And then being open to all that comes with it. And man, a hailstorm of crap came down on me, but God, it made me so stronger. And it was a lonely place. I mean, it can be a lonely place when everybody else is lined up doing what they're doing. They're just in line going through the motions, and it's like, and they look at you and they're like, yeah, you're crazy, man. It's like.
Well, I think people are afraid to look. I don't want to say look bad, because I don't even like using the word good or bad, because it's like a judgment. But people are afraid of what others may think of them and how they're going to look to other people if they make these changes, and that's
right. Ridicule.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when people don't want to look at themselves and they see other people that are looking at themselves and doing some changes and stuff like that, they would like to often ridicule will happen. I mean, when I was making a change once and I was selling a successful business, I was letting go of a successful business and starting something new, people told me that I was crazy. I mean, people sat me down and said, you got to go back to doing what you were doing, because this new thing is not going to take off. And, but the thing I'm talking about, the business I got into was cellular phones. And
because he was a pioneer before they were commonplace.
Right. So, all these people are telling me, hey, these cellular phones aren't going to take off. I mean, I don't even like to answer the phone at home. Why would I ever carry one of those? It doesn't make any sense. And I just felt strongly that these things were going to take off.
What's so funny is it's not even like he heard the ridicule in passing. I mean, people who really cared about him sat him down to say that this was a crazy business venture he was doing, that he actually got rid of one business and was sold one business to do this business. Yeah. And then he went on to go break all the records in that area.
Yeah, and broke all the national sales records. And and it was a good run, and it was a good time in my life, But the thing is, it wasn't really my purpose. But I had a vision, I went for it, and it was a business deal, and I did it, and it turned out well for me, and
I think it's
you know,
part of your purpose. This is that part,
yeah.
Jack, I was saying earlier. I think it's part of, because
Well, it could be part of the journey that leads you to,
Yeah.
you never know where you're going to be led. But I did follow my heart on it. I don't know if it's my absolute purpose.
I'm
but-
not saying it was your absolute purpose, but I do believe that part of your purpose is figuring out where there are areas of values and how to tap into it in highly leveraged ways, and that's how you broke the records. It wasn't like you broke the records because you became this super excited salesperson. You broke the records because you led teams and you figured out leverage strategies on how to add this value at a very quick pace, which is what is part of your purpose, Jack, which is how to add value at a very quick pace that expands.
Right on. Yeah, I can see that. So I want to try an exercise, and you've helped me with this. This is a pretty cool exercise. So I want you to envision that you are an alien from another planet. And you're from the planet Empowera. but anyway, so you land on Earth, and you have all the skills that you have now, all the purpose. I mean, you're in tune with all that, and then you're just investigating where you are at this time in your life.
You're given, so you're an alien, you're dropped into, you have all the skill set you have right now, all the knowledge base you have, but you have no history. But you're in the life that you have right now. So you're in the home that you have, you're in the checking account that you have right now, you're in the family configuration that you have, you are in the work or business environment that you're in right now, but you don't know anything other than this is your world.
Mm-hmm. This is what you have to work with.
And so what would you do? I believe most people coming in with a blank slate like that would look at all the ways to empower the situation, their lives, because there's no history to contrast it any other way.
Yeah, there's no I can't do this, I can't
because
do that.
Because the boss is this way, or because I only have this much in my checking. It's like, oh, I have this much, so here's my money I get each month, here, or however you make your money. Here's my children, here's my wife.
Right. So
how would you look at that world? It would be so mesmerizing and wonderment, because that's how kids are. They're so amazed at the most simplest things.
Right, yeah, they'll stare at bugs for hours and they're like, oh, cool, look at that.
Oh, I remember when Cody discovered the moon. I mean, this went on for a long time. He would just point and he'd go, the moon, the moon. It went on for weeks. I mean, the thought that there's another planet besides this was so amazing to him.
Yeah, so, oh man, I think I lost my point.
With the alien story?
No. It was kind of like the alien story, but it's kind of interesting how people that don't have a job, they think like, oh, I got to get a job. There's no job, so they're telling that story, and then they finally get a job, right? And then 2 weeks later, they're offered another job. Why? Well, I think a lot of it is that they're not thinking there's no jobs, because there obviously are jobs. They have a job, so that's why they're offered another one. So I was a partner in this wireless business. I was partnering up with another group, and I didn't like the way things were going, and I kind of felt at that time a little trapped. Like, this isn't going right. I'm not digging this. But I don't really feel like I have any options right now. And then I was offered I was offered to partner up with another company. And it was a pretty sweetheart deal, right? So I went to the people that I was partners with, and I said, you know what? Unless this, and this changes, I'm out of here. And they said, okay, we'll change it. They gave me everything I wanted.
Yeah.
So because I had this backup, I was willing to go and do that, but sometimes we got to be willing to do it when we don't even have a backup. It's like we got to be willing to go and say, say, demand, the truth. To demand that there's fair value exchange, that there's equity, there's things like that. But when you get rid of this fear, when you become unwilling to proceed as things are going, and you're willing to change no matter what the cost, usually that's when these jewels can appear to you. There's another story that I have that was really powerful for me. These guys wanted, I'd gotten out of the wireless business, and these guys wanted me to come back in and be work as a consultant for them, and I wasn't interested. But a friend of mine said, hey, would you please do this for me? Just go in and talk to these guys, because I need to show them that there's some kind of action going, and maybe you can just give me a little insight. And I think he bribed me with, he's going to buy me lunch or something. So I went in there, and I had no intention. I mean, I just really wasn't into it. And then they started making me these offers. And they offered me this money, and I said, you know what, I wouldn't even think about this unless the money was at least double. And they said, well, they could do that. And then I said, well, I want benefits. And they're like, okay, well, we can give you benefits. And I said, well, I want a car allowance too. And they said, how is $250 a month? And I said, 450 sounds better. And they said yes. I said I wanted a cell phone. I wanted a wireless data card. I wanted, all this stuff. They just kept saying yes, yes, yes. And at the very last, the very end of the negotiation, I was, or this meeting, I said, and I'm not really a sports fan. I don't know. I never had a father, so I never really got into the whole sports thing, I guess. But they just kind of blurted out Red Wings tickets, and they said 14th row center ice. I said, all right, let's do it. So that's just the power of holding to the truth of where you're at and what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do.
That's my classic example of negotiating with life. Really, it feels like, oh, you're negotiating with them, but it's this term that you had already negotiated with life, with yourself. And those become the details. And this is where we can free ourselves up so much, when we just become so willing to realize there is no compromise, that we're negotiating with life. And it's going to show up in all these different peoples and situation, and that's how we're negotiating. And we give ourselves so much more power when we realize that our negotiation for the terms we want for our life are with life itself.
There's a lot more that we have to influence this than I think that we think. I know that when, back when I was in the midst of my drug and alcohol addiction, and I've made no secret of my 14 plus years of recovery, but while I was in that, I felt like I was just being bounced around. I was like the ball in the pinball machine, and I just banged off things, and I didn't have, I had no control. It just, it was all just reactive instead of this kind of proactive place to be.
It's interesting. I go back to this alien story that we brought up, is that, when we just get rid of the story that attaches us to the same repetitive life that just keeps repeating itself, because we give it the energy to become the same thing over and over again. That's when I did that, this idea of this, like, pretend like you're an alien. This is your life. This is your husband. This is your wife. These are your kids. This is your home. This is your checking account. Like, what would you do with all of that? You would find how to empower it and expand it, and you'd start having vision. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Because what happens is you don't have a story that just keeps getting retold that allows you to stay in this place of redundancy.
Yeah.
Where it dulls the spirit of who we are. I really believe that we got to start becoming bold, and we got to become alive, and we got to become, passionate in the pursuit of the pursuit of who each of us are.
And there's real sharpness there. We're getting to the end of the hour here, and we want to leave you with a recording that I've done. We played it on the show before, and you can actually get it for free at empower11.com. You can opt in there and get that free audio. Listen to it every day for 11 days, and most have said they have seen a significant difference in their lives.
Some people have seen it immediately. Some people have built some momentum of change with it.
But before we do, and before we end with that, I just want to also just state that, listen, you got to be easy on yourself as well.
Oh, I love when you say this, Jack. I mean, you say this all the time. It's great.
You got to be your best friend. You got to be your own life coach. You got to be in a place of ease and grace. And it doesn't do any good to just beat ourselves up. If you're using this opportunity to step back and look at your life and you don't like what you see, hey, that's pretty damn cool, because awareness is there, and when awareness happens, healing starts to begin, just like when your body realizes that it's cut and it sends the right stuff to and right nutrients and everything that it needs in order to heal that cut. So just be easy on yourself, but be in a place of truth and move forward.
Right on.
You want to introduce this audio, and we'll end with that, Ann?
Yeah, the Empower Now, I do believe that you can gain some momentum. Wherever you're at, I ask you to just allow yourself to breathe it in, get quiet, let the stillness of this, penetrate and infuse into that spiritual atonement, that mental soundness.
Believe in yourself. You have everything you need. All the gifts and tools have been provided. Old, unhelpful patterns slip away and are being replaced by powerful new enlightenment. Let go of resistance and trust the process. All is being achieved with ease and flow. Magnificent forces are conspiring in your favor. Yes, the world is out to get you. Get you exactly where you desire to be. Your life is becoming more magnificent every day. Today, on this day, that is your day, you make your decision to take ownership of your life. For this is your day. Own it. This is your week. The best week of your life. Own it. This is your month. The most amazing month of your life. Own it. This is your year. The most incredible, abundant year of your life. Own it. This is your decade. The most outstanding, beautiful decade of your entire life, and you own it. This is your life, and you own every moment of it. You know your purpose. It is to follow Source. The voice deep from within you knows. The voice that for whatever reason has been quiet until now speaks up and guides you. stand tall and walk with pride on this journey you have chosen. Be proud of who you are and where you are going. Being humble does not mean denying your greatness. This is your time to rise up and unleash the power inside of you. The floodgates are open, and nothing can prevent this mighty force Source has given you. It is on. Your creativity holds no bounds. Your ideas become things that are real, that are tangible, and that are alive. You live an intentional life by design. No one has the power to get you off your game. You own it. Those who are not traveling with the spirit that supports you will slip away, and you will bear them no ill will. Source is sending the right people into your life at the right time, and it's happening. All who are around you benefit. This is the time. This is your time, and your time is now. Believe in yourself. You have everything you need. All the gifts and tools have been provided. Claim it. Own it. Live it now.